Hey there, I hope you'll be willing to make this owl with me. We are going to fill the belly of the owl with all sorts of different lines. At some point in art class with me, you've learned about the zigzag dotted uh, line. All of those are lines we use often in art class. But most importantly, I want you to notice my owl is not made or drawn with normal owl colors. I think that's one of the more fun things about this project. I've even done a blue branch down here. So please know that at any time when we're drawing from the outline all the way down to the beak, any color goes. So you do not need to be thinking about a normal owl. I've got crayons today that I'll be using. If in your space you only have markers, that would be fine too. I am going to have us do a little bit of drawing first, just in case we erase. So let's start with a pencil. I've got my paper going the tall way, and near the center of the paper, I'm going to toss in a nice big oval. I do need a nice section up top, maybe about a little bit bigger than my hand, for the head of the owl. So near the center of the paper, I'm going to toss in a nice big oval. On the belly of that owl, on the circle or oval we just drew, is where all those interesting lines will go. Now I'm looking at the top of my paper, and I need a really nice head on this owl, and that is like this. I go up, out, and back down to the side of my owl. Let's add the ears out here. One of the features of an owl are their giant eyes that help them see at night. So let's do this, please. Let's add two really nice eyes, large circle and a slightly smaller circle over here. Other side of the head, larger circle, smaller circle. We can also add a little curve on each side of the owl's head before we add in the beak. My beak goes like this. It's sort of the shape of a football or a lemon. Side of the beak, curve down, stop. Other side of the beak, curve down, stop. And I'm going to erase this line that was in there from my belly. We can add some nostrils, which are two little openings in the beak there. I think we're done with the head of the owl. Let's go down to the bottom of the picture now. We're going to add a nice branch that this owl is sitting on. So I'm going to bring the top line of this branch. It does not have to be perfectly straight, but the other side of the branch should match. When the top line wiggles, the bottom one wiggles the same. We can also bring some smaller branches off of that one. So here's two lines for a branch over here. Here's two lines for a branch down here. Let's add feet or claws onto this owl. So let's do some shapes like this for our owl. And if your line for the branch crossed over those toes, you can erase them. I'm erasing the line there for the branch that touched my toes to show that I care, because the feet are in front. Now that we've drawn our owl, we need just the wings on the side. Those go like this. Side of the body, where it touches the head, bring it out and tuck it back. Other side, bring it out, tuck it behind. I think we're ready to color. Remember, at all times when we're coloring and doing our outlines, this does not need to be a normal owl color. If we did that, they might all be gray or brown, and that wouldn't be very interesting. So let's grab a color for our outline. You can do multiple colors for your outline. So I'm going to go on top of my belly with blue. I can switch to a different color for my wings, such as green. You can do the same. But remember, you're in charge of your own artwork. If you want to do purple or magenta, you can do that. I have never seen an owl with a magenta, that's this color, a magenta beak, but now I have seen it because I decided that the beak should be magenta. Each line I add is going to be a different color here. One time, outside of my house, something was blocking the light. I saw the light was changing outside of my front door, and when I looked, there was an owl perched on a tree right outside my door. I have never seen that owl since that day. I'm not sure if he lives nearby or he was just in the area, but that was a neat thing to see that owl up close. Coming down to my branch, even the branch does not have to be a normal real life color. I'm going to start and stop that line so that I don't cross over my toes here. But today my line is, or my branch is going to be purple. Now, I told you we'd be doing some lines on the belly. Let's start with those. So I know that you all know and love the zigzag line. So let's start with the zigzag line. Choose any color somewhere on your belly. Let's toss in a nice zigzag line. If you start too large, you won't have enough space for others. You know what I just decided? I'm going to do another one real close in another color. Boy, doesn't that help that look a little better, more interesting. So I did a red line first and orange right beside it. Next, I'm going to switch to a squiggly line. Squiggly line is rather curvy. I'm going to do that same thing again. I'm choosing a different color and I'm going to go right beside it. What else can we do? Let's do a line made up of circles. They are going in the same direction. They are in a line, kind of like students walking in the hall. And maybe in this one, I'll choose a different color and take a second to fill in my circles. So I'm choosing blue. This crayon actually says indigo on it. And I'm filling those in. Let's try the dash line next. Dash line goes like this. Again, kind of like students in the hall, they're all heading in the same direction, so they are a line. Trying to think of some others. I know you know the bump line. Bump line goes like this. Bump, 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 bump. Kind of like the squiggly line, but slightly different. Again, let's try to toss another one right beside it and see if that helps it stand out. Let's try one of the harder lines. Over, up, over, down. 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 If you say it to yourself, it's a lot easier. Over, up, over, down. Over, up, over, down. Over, up, over, down. That line's crazy. Doesn't really remind me of anything in real life other than maybe buildings in a city. So our owl is almost done. We can now go back in color. So I outlined my eyes in orange, but I want to color them in with blue. My ears on this owl are outlined in pink, but I want to neatly color them in with green. My wings are outlined with green, but I'm going to choose to outline or color them in with yellow. It's very easy to make the crayons look scratchy and light if you take your time. Maybe you're working with markers today too. Both of those materials, if you take your time, you can catch all those little white spots and help it look more even. That's one way to show that you care. My feet, I missed the outline on those. I'm going to choose a dark blue here. But if they're outlined in dark blue, I don't have to color them in with dark blue. My outline can be different than what I'm coloring in. So, I'm going to set you free now. Take some time to finish your owl. Maybe you had some extra space and can think of some other lines. Or you can repeat ones we already did. You could add a bump line up here. Or I know sometimes if we're feeling like we want to try a harder one, we could try the wave line, which hooks and goes back. Hooks and goes back. Another version of the wave line is like an upside down bumpy line. Like this. Kind of looks like water. So if you had some extra space, you can try those lines. Otherwise, boys and girls, I hope you have fun coloring in this owl. It's quite a crazy owl, isn't it? The colors certainly don't have to match. It's your artwork. You are the person choosing these things. Have fun today.